You know, Tom, I was watching some Norm Macdonald videos. You know, the comedian who died, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Just died, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. But I was thinking to myself, you know, if we can just find ways to make people laugh, to make the show a little bit better, you know what I'm saying? Just to be a little more, have a little more comedy relief. And then I thought about it for a moment. I said, well, you know, we do give them our picks.
Yeah, that's comic relief sometimes.
Yes, for sure.
Some of our picks are, yeah.
We got one of these races. My Lord. I mean, like 34 races, 34 horses or some crazy number in a race out at Newmarket. And it's like, you might as well, I was really contemplating covering up the prison window here and just putting a dartboard with numbers 1 through 34 and like attaching a Velcro to it and like throwing, one of those dartboards that had the Velcro balls and just throwing it and see whichever numbers it hit on. Those were going to be my picks because it's probably, I would say, equally as effective.
It's a wide open race. I mean, there'll be a couple of them in there look a little better than the rest, but I picked a long shot. I don't see any reason not to. It's one of those races. And going back, because last week we did the race at Ayr that was similar to this one. It had 24 runners.
Mm-hmm.
And, I stayed off one of the horses you picked, which was Great Ambassador. And the horse ran second and paid $11.80 to place in a placing. I'm like, what? So to me, I mean, it was a horse I liked, but I thought it would go off too short of a price. But that's a great price for a place.
Yeah, and it's too bad I didn't put it in one of those place parlays.
Yeah, I mean that was a really good observation by you, and I just passed on it because I thought it would be too short of a price. And in that kind of race, you want to play.
Yeah, with 34 horses in the race, there's no sense in taking the favorite because, I don't think they're going to run 34 horses. What the most they can run is 20 or 24.
No, they run 30. That's
holy 30, hell, they're going to run 34?
They're running 30. Oh 35 they can run.
35?
Yeah, that's the one.
That's not a race. That's a stampede, my friend.
One was taken out, and it started with 170 entries. So
good luck with that. Going to be the racing steward on who gets in and who gets out on that one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and there was 2 reserves too, so I'm surprised one of the reserves hasn't jumped in.
They probably will, or one of the other 140 or so that didn't get in. Well, hey, me, teacher, me. Well, we have 5 races to get to today, and as I mentioned, one of the races has 34 horses in it. That's just crazy, Tom. But we'll start in a race that doesn't have 34 horses, and at least I don't think the first one does. That's the Newmarket. There'll be at Newmarket in England. So this is a 1 mile race, the Juddmonte Royal Lodge Stakes. It's a Group 2, and they're going to run a mile. Thomas, tell us about Newmarket and what we should be looking for in this race.
Well, we should talk about the going first. It's good to firm, and they said that on the stand side they were watering. So, and that seems to be the indication from the races today because we had a 1 listed race and 3 Group 3 races. So some quality was running today. So in this race, this is a lot of. There's 2 horses that have gone a mile, and won, and the rest of them will be interesting, to say the least. So I took number 1, Corobus, draw number 2. It had a nice run in its novice race last out and moved well throughout, and it just kept on. When it was asked to go at 3 furlongs, it did. And so I like that. Its last race was at this distance, and there's only one other horse that's gone this distance. But the reason why I picked this horse was the race speed was 2.26 seconds behind the standard, which is what the Racing Post makes as their benchmark. And that's pretty quick. That's pretty quick for a bunch of 2-year-olds.
Oh, behind the benchmark. Okay, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, it is pretty quick.
And the reason I'll say that is because I'm going to give another number on the next horse. The dam side run on all kinds of track conditions. The sire did too, and so it shouldn't have any problem with whatever it ends up being. I'm assuming good to firm is going to be it. Number 2, Howarth, the draw 4. I picked that as my placing horse. Has 6 starts, but 1 win and only 1 placing. So, but last race, it well to the start, lacked room at about 2 furlongs out, and pressed the leaders and then didn't finish. Well, it screwed up the start. It had to be moved around a little bit to get some room. So yeah, I mean, you're going to cost you lengths when you do that. So that's why I think it's got a good chance here. The win was at Killarney in Ireland, and it was the favorite. But I don't know how good the field was.
Mm-hmm.
But the standard in that last race was 7.31 seconds above the standard. So comparing to my top choice, that's fairly significant difference in time.
Yeah,
and it was over the same type of going. So that gives you an idea. Number 5, Royal Patronage is my draw 1. Is my final choice. Won the winner of the last 2 races at 7 furlongs. Went off at 25-1 last time out and beat a next time out winner in Noble Truth. He won a listed race. Will be on the lead. There's no question in my mind. This is the horse that's going to be on the front. But the breeding is interesting because on the dam side, she won at distances of up to 1.5 miles. So there's no question of that part of the stamina. But the sire was a top sprinter, and he never won beyond 7 furlongs. So what are we going to get here?
They're going to get a mix.
Yeah. So definitely pace will make the race, and it'll be very interesting. The other thing I thought was interesting was there is a sprint on this card too. It's a grade 1. But they opted to go in the mile race. So it's very interesting with that horse, because I thought maybe they'd run in the 6 furlong race, but nope. But I still like it. I like it on the front. Did a great job last time out. Don't see any reason why I couldn't do it again.
Well, I'm going to pick up right where you left off, because I like Royal Patronage as well. That's my top choice because it looks like the horse was kind of struggling a little bit, headed to the barn and came out, and has been in really good form since. So it looks to me like it's the horse that's in the best form. Once again, I could be the odds maker because I have the number 1 horse as my second pick. The horse was the 1-1 favorite in its debut. I like when horses come out of the barn, first race out, and they come out and the bettors are all over him, and then the horse is 10-3. That's the way they do their odds over there, Jay. So it's just basically 10 divided by 3. It's just a little bit different than how we do it. So it would work out to be like 3 1/3 to 1.
It's
so instead of
7-2, 25-1 again, because I cleaned up on that one last time.
So instead of we do ours in halves, and then I think after 9/2, we move to straight to 5-1 and that kind of stuff. Yeah, you wait till you see the race we do with 35 horses, Jay. That's really crazy. The odds are all off the charts there.
The best is coming.
No, yes, for sure. Well, it won't be last though. We'll do that in Australia because for me that's the best because I have no idea what I'm looking at still. And then for me, I like the 3 horse in there, Masekela, or the 4 horse. One for the gutter. I kind of like the one for the gutter name. That's a kind of, college lifestyle right there a little bit. But they both look the same to me. They're both coming out of a pretty evenly rated race. So why not take the horse with the higher odds? That's always been my philosophy. If I've got 2 horses that I kind of like the same, I'll go ahead and take the one with that is a stampede. That's exactly what I called it, Jay. He says it 34 horse race is a stampede.
I disagree.
Yeah, so for me, I always take the horse with the higher odds if I can't break a tie. I can't really break the tie between the 3 and the 4. The 3 is the favorite, so why not go with the 4? Next race for us, Thomas, is the Newmarket Cheveley Park Stakes. Is that right? Or is it Cheveley or something along those lines?
I'll go with what you're saying.
Yes, I'm the official pronunciator of Horse Racing Radar anyway, so it's Cheveley.
Absolutely.
We'll go with that.
Nice.
What do you see here? This one's
nice
6 furlongs. Is this the sprint that you thought the horse was going to go into?
No, the next one.
Oh, okay.
The middle Park Stakes. I mean, this is a nice group of fillies, Group 1, and I took the biggest price on the board, number 12.
Well, it's the second highest price.
No, it's got a little bit.
You got everybody's hopes up, Tom, just to let them down, my friend.
Shoot. Well, it's only 40-1 instead of 66-1. What do I know?
More dating stories from Rich. Anyway,
yeah, Velocity. I tossed his last race out. I mean, it won twice, won at a Group 2 level, and then she decided to run a green race. That's the only way I can describe it. It was awful. I mean, it was just okay, whatever. I mean, the one Group 2 race was in a short field, it seems to be able to adapt to conditions. So it's one on soft to heavy, and then there's one on good to firm. So I always like that with a horse. Sire, interesting, is one at 7 furlongs in a mile only. The dam has not produced, never raced, but she's produced one winner, and that was actually a sprinter. So I think the horse is going to show a lot more here than that last race, and that's why if those odds go off that way, I'm going to love it, because I really think she's got a shot in here. I didn't play this horse last time and should have. Number 13, Zane Claudette, draw 1. You did, because you did like this horse. Got 1 placing and 3 wins from 4 starts. Can't complain about that.
Nope. It's actually a neck away from being undefeated in 4.
Yeah. Last one was extremely impressive, and we were talking about above the standard. It was 0.86 above the standard, so they moved to say the least. That was a very fast race for 2-year-olds. I mean, it was a very impressive race by this horse. She ran her eyeballs out, frankly.
Hope she can see.
Yes. But she's won it, she's won a Group 2, she's won a Group 3. They're bringing her up slowly to a Group 1. It's a great horse. I mean, the only thing I think that sucks is that it's got draw number 1. Royal Patronage has gotten draw number 1. He's going to get out.
Mm-hmm.
This one generally will lag a little bit, so we'll see. Number 2, Desert Dreamer is my final choice. In the money, 5 out of 6 starts. And the only bad race it ran was at Royal Ascot, and it dwelt at the start and went all over the place. And she was done at the beginning. I mean, she did just nothing. But you toss that race, and he's done very well since then.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that she runs second.
Hangs.
And she's done it against Zane Claudette. She's done it against Sandarine. She's done it against System. So all good horses. 2 of them are in this race, and we'll see. Last 3 races are, as I said, at group level. And again, she's going to step up to Group 1. So we'll see.
I've seen a lot of horses do that, though, that kind of have they're just knocking at the door all the time against a certain set of horses. And then they just have that race where, they're always kind of close in odds, and then the bettors go, the horse never beats these horses, and the bettors kind of go away from that horse, and then that horse comes home to win.
Pops in and wins.
So Desert Dreamer is my 4th pick, as you mentioned. The horse has run 7 times, 6 of those times what I rank as a high quality start. So if a horse is going to go out there and put out a good effort, 6 out of 7 times, that's some consistency that horse players can kind of, I want to say bank on, but can kind of hopefully count on. But for me, my top pick is Zane Claudette. As I mentioned when you brought up her name, that she is only a neck away from being undefeated in 4. I like number 9, Sandrine, as my next, missed by 1 length after a slow start in her last race. So get a little better start. Probably closes that gap, and it was on Zane Claudette, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it was correct.
And Sacred Bridge, the 8 horse, is my 3rd pick. It's undefeated in 4 races. So, and they're all on good surfaces. So the horse should like the surface, should be a contender. I know those are 4 of the top 5 picks, but the next race, or one of these races in the handicap, I'll have nothing anywhere near the top of the board in that handicap race. I think the shortest odds I have are might even be 20-1 or 30-1. I'm not even sure. It's gonna, if we hit that one time, we may never have to play the horses again. We might be able to buy our own island.
I would be very happy.
The Middle Park Stakes is another 6 furlong race, and this is much be the one that you thought the horse in the first race. What was that horse's name again? Royal Patronage would run in this one.
Yeah, but they're gonna try it at the mile, and we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Colts 2-year-olds. We're
anything can happen.
All 2-year-olds right now in these races, and anything can happen with this bunch. Mm-hmm. So don't be surprised.
And there's some good names in here too. I mean, I think there's a lot of good horses in here. Like Go Bears Go is not a slouch, and it's 8-1.
Well, I went with the number 4 as my top selection, Katerina. I think that
number 4, Katura.
Katura, okay.
As the official pronunciator.
Yeah, very strong race. 5 furlong race last time out, Group 2. Against group winners. I mean, it did a nice job. It was in the rear of the field when it started to push it was running on the near side. It pushed and finished, and very strong finish. Cannot complain about that at all. Has one win at 3 tries at this distance, and one at the wins are at Royal Ascot and Goodwood, so right places to win.
Yes, good tracks for sure.
The sire and dam are both sprinters and never won past 7 furlongs. So, and the dam has produced other runners that are also sprinters. So, guess what this horse is?
Sprinter.
A sprinter. So, I think
not too bad. That question wasn't on the SATs.
I don't see. We got one at 5 last time, and I don't see any problem with winning at 6.
Mm-hmm.
I did take Go Bears Go number 6 with draw 4. He started fine, but frankly, he was no match for the winner. But it was in a Group 1 race, so I mean, he ran 3rd. I thought he could have run a little better, but it happens. He's won 2 races, one in a Group 2 race. He's placed twice. That's not bad. And the last races, he's got strong speed figures, and let's face it, this is a really good group. So you're gonna have to be on your A game to win this bunch because horses like Armour, who lost didn't figure last time out, was the favorite in the race before that, in the Deauville race that Perfect Power won.
Mm-hmm.
So Sire was a top miler. Dam has produced 6 winners from 7 starters. And they've all won at a mile or over, which means they got more interesting things in store for this horse, I think.
Probably.
So, stay sound. You never know. And I make the same comment about number 9, Perfect Power. It'll be should be I think odds-on favorite, will be close to it. Partially because of its win last time out at Deauville. It just ran a great race. There's no question. The one poor race that he ran, the jockey commented that he hung left-handed. So, because he had the stewards, because he was one of the choices, the stewards called the jockey in and go, okay, what happened in this race? And so that's what the comment was. So, we can forgive one race. These 2-year-olds are 2-year-olds. He made a move in that race, but didn't keep a straight course, and it was just a mess. I mean, that's the only way to describe it. So, but the thing is, after a really bad race, it goes to Deauville and wins.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's quick recovery. The dam was a distance horse, so she wanted a mile plus. First foal. This is the first foal of hers, so we don't have anything else to go on. And the sire was a top sprinter, 5 and 6 furlongs. So another one. We don't know. The dam side wins out, then we got a horse that's going to be looking at the classics next year.
Yeah, for sure.
If not, then we're going to have a good, nice, and maybe a very nice sprinter. So those are mine.
I like Perfect Power, perfect on a good track. That's what they're going to get tomorrow, 2-0. And then my second pick is Go Bears Go. I got to hold Chicago down, Tom, where we are. It's probably the only good thing coming out of the city these days is a horse, Go Bears Go. And even the Bears are probably going to leave the city. They're really going to go Bears Go. Maybe that's where they got the idea to go to Arlington Heights from. My third pick is Asymmetric. It's a horse that's run at Newmarket 2 times, has a win and a second, but that second was by a neck or a head to LaSalle, who's a really good horse too, right? I mean, that's a horse I'm familiar with. And if there's a foreign horse and I know the name without needing to look it up, then I know it's got to be a good horse. And then finally, I have Castle Star, the 3 horse, as my fourth pick. And that's that horse that I talked about in the last race that's always close against this bunch, like always finishing second or third. I mean, just right on their tail, but just never quite get the job done. So maybe Castle Star this time around, will be that horse where the bettors kind of get away from it because has competed against these, and then boom, this is the race. So she finally steps back up and finishes the job, so to speak, puts them all to sleep.
Again, with this field, it'll be very interesting to see how some of these a horse like that will fare, because let's face it, we've got winners and we've got ones that have been so, and on very likely could be one of the long shots pick this up, because it is 2-year-olds.
Yeah, and I don't think it's all that uncompetitive, because like I said, a lot of these horses have faced each other and there's not really been much to separate top to bottom. So, a good step here, a good ride there could be the difference between a horse winning and finishing 5th, which is a big difference to a winning ticket and not having a winning ticket, right? Oh. 1st and 5th might both start with F, but one goes in the garbage.
Yeah, one is worth the paper it's printed on.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and including the dollars, because they're not worth much these days either. The next thing is here's the big one. This is the Cambridgeshire. I hope I got that right. Handicap.
Cambridgeshire, yeah, I think.
Don't you love it when Mr. Likely calls? Scam Likely. It's my favorite caller. Yes, Mr. Likely. How can I help you? In any case, this is the race where we talked about.
Good pick.
Maybe he's going, what the hell are you talking about? This is the race with the 34 horses. This is the Stampede, J. Marco, and it is a Stampede. And I'm curious to see if we have one horse that matches. I mean, if we do, that's probably the one you should all avoid. But anyway.
Yes, I would agree.
It would be crazy if all 4 matched, because then I would really.
I doubt.
If all 4 match, Tom, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go out and play the pick 4 with those 4 horses. I'm going to walk right over to the store, play that lottery. I'll box them, and they'll for sure win. But anyway, go ahead. Who do you like?
I took number 27. You're hired.
No, I don't have that
3.
Uh-huh.
Third, versus one of the favorites in the last race.
80-1. Woo, you're going to have to change your moniker if that one comes in.
Yeah. 3/4 of a length, lost by 3/4 of a length. Pressed the leader, got to moving at the 3 furlong out, drifted right, and lost second. So may have, because it hasn't run great until that race, and then it ran a nice race. So it's I think it's improving. Lifetime record, for this 8-year-old is 31 runs, 5 wins, and 12 places. So that's not shabby. And the thing is interesting with this horse is that, it is an 8-year-old, but it's only averaged 4 starts per year.
So lightly raced.
It's pretty lightly raced, relatively speaking. It has 2 wins at this level, in the Class 2 level. Jim Crowley will ride this horse again. And this is his 4th time on the horse, but he's never won. And I put a little asterisk saying, yet. And yes, it will be a big price. But guess what? This horse finished 2nd last year in this race and was 100-1.
So good fit, maybe.
Is the trainer targeting, or the owner's targeting this race as the race they want to win? Well, if it can perform like it did last time, I think it's got a great chance. So I went with number 14.
So number 27, number 14. All right, Thomas. Do I have 14? So far, we don't have anything that matches.
Winner last out at Red Car at the same distance in a Class 3, so it's going to be moving up a little. It was pushed, and at the 3 furlongs to go, it took the lead at the 1 furlong out, and it kept going. And so, nice race. But, of course, this is a younger horse, so it only has 9 starts, has 3 wins and 2 placings.
Mm-hmm.
I should preface it because 2 of its wins are on the all-weather. So, a maiden and a Class 5. that is interesting. So it'll be C. In the past, it's been outpaced at level 2, the class 2. So we'll see if this horse is turned around. Tom Marquette is up, and it's William Haggis' horse. So good hands and trained by a top trainer. Number 3, Majestic Dawn, with draw number 34. It's my next choice.
another 20 to 1.
Only 20 to 1.
Yeah, so far you got to combine odds of 120 to 1.
Third at Haydock in a Group 3 last time out over soft ground, so it may like that. It's had 2/3 and 1/5 this year, but it's only been out 3 times, so lightly raced. In last year mile race at Newmarket, it beat 26 other rivals in a big field. So I always like to see that it was able to handle that.
A big class.
And it's going to be outside, which may be a not a good thing. But we're going to see how they run too, because are they going to go through? The gates is going to be in the center of the course. So are they going to split off and go into 2 groups, or are there going to be 3 groups? One up the middle and 2 one far side, 1 stand side. It's hard to say, and really will depend on what group that horse gets with, because a lot of times that will where the winner will come from will be the better group, so to speak. So the thing I liked was the change in jockey. We're using William Buick this time, and I thought that was a real positive, because this is, you wouldn't think he'd be riding. And this isn't a pickup mount. He's, they asked him specifically to ride this horse, so I think that's really interesting. Number 28.
I have no idea where to even go for this one.
Chinchester, draw 10.
28. Well, he's not in there, so he's more up towards the front. So let's see, there he is.
Yeah, he's like 3rd or 4th. He raced at Ayr 9 days ago and won. Nice race. Moved at 3 furlongs left. Led at the 2 furlong mark. Went clear, and was eased at the finish. Well, they beat that group pretty convincingly. It's been running from class 2 races down to class 5 races, and it's won at class 2 and class 4 levels. So interesting. 16 starts, 3 wins, 6 placings, which is nice to see. Another factor is that this was the biggest market mover of all the horses so far. It was listed at 60 to 1, and it's now at 9 to 1. That's pretty significant. So those people who bought it at 60 to 1,
you're feeling good about now.
You may have something here.
Mm-hmm.
And Holly Doyle is going to ride this horse, and she has 2 seconds on the horse and 2 starts. So I think that's a big positive.
Should work out well. So, all right, we didn't have 1, Tom, that matched. So that's
I'm not surprised.
Well, I figured there might be 1 in there. So this is a handicap. So that means each horse is assigned a different weight by the what we would call racing steward here, I guess, right?
Yeah.
The racing secretary.
The racing
gods. Yeah. So so they're watching these horses and they use the weights to determine which horses, like the horses that carry their heavier weights are the ones that they feel like are the better horses, I would imagine. Or is it age based? I don't, when I was looking through it, I was wondering if it's age based, but I see 4-year-olds carrying more weight and less weight. So I figured it can't be age based.
Based on your past performance.
So looking at that, the horse that's carrying the most weight, at least when I was looking at the program, I don't even know where this one is, all the way down here was the 1 horse, Bell Rock. So that tells me, just from observation, from watching the horses prepare and all that kind of stuff, that the horse is probably the one that the racing steward thinks is the best horse in the field. Otherwise, why give it the biggest weight to carry? And also, with 34 horses, and I was thinking a little bit about our show last night with Steve Matthews from Newsday, and he was talking about how you have to have, you can't jump from one handicapping thing to another. You got to stick with something. So I figured in this race with 34 horses, it's kind of like handicapping 3 or 4 races, or maybe even 5, depending upon where which track you're at. I figured I'm going to go with 2 little simple things: how the horse ran on good surface and how the horse ran at Newmarket, right? Some track experience and some surface experience. And then I figured, well, I'll look at the weights too, because That's the racing steward trying to tell me which horse he thinks or she thinks is the best horse in the field. So I have Bell's Rock number 1's run at Newmarket 5 times, won 3 of them, has a third, and like I said, it has the highest weight for a reason. That horse is 50 to 1. Oh Lord Almighty! I'm trying to chase you around.
Up. You can see below the.
Yeah, it was 20 to 28 to 1.
26, 26 to 1 too. So it's been going pretty much up all along.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be a trend with my other horses too. I have number 4, Raise You. It's 1 for 1 at Newmarket, and 2 of the it's won 3 times. I couldn't find anything past the data that I had, but 2 of those the only 2 races I see on a good surface, it won. So maybe all 3 of its wins, but I know at least 2 out of its 3 wins were on a good surface, and it's chased some other surfaces since then. Right here, I have number 20 as my next pick. Figure this is an appropriate name for this race. Anything today, because anything can happen today, right? For sure. And this horse has run very well on a good surface, and it has a record at Newmarket. Ran there 4 times, has a pair of wins in a third, so likes the surface, likes the track. Why not? And then finally, I have number 13. I don't know where that horse is. Let's see if he's up or down. It's too many. He's even worse. Oh, my Lord.
Down.
Where is he even on the board? Did they take him out? There he is.
There he is.
Breath Caught, right? Another horse that's run. And this is just a straight up horse for the course. Breath Caught has run at Newmarket 6 times, has a pair of wins, a pair of seconds, and a third. So 5 out of 6 at Newmarket on the board in the money. So that wraps it up for me in that crazy race.
Gets in light at 8 stone 13. So
yeah, it's really light. So that's the lightest horse in the race. So it's got one of the lightest horses.
I think the 35 is the lightest.
So there's some, to me, looking at all these different horses, it is just where you are, trip. I mean, all this stuff is going to matter. And it's really, maybe what we should do, Tom, is just take all of our 8 picks, box them, and hope that we hit the exact and trifecta. Because if we do, I assure you, you're going to get paid. There's no question about it.
I would be very surprised if it wasn't a decent payoff.
You know what's nutty is we picked all these long shots, combined odds probably close to 300 to 1, and it's going to go to form. It's going to be like right down the top.
Well, but even if you go up and look at the prices there, I mean, it's you're getting good prices even at the top level. I mean, the favorite's 7 to 1 right now.
Yeah, that's
I mean, that's not bad.
No.
And let's face it. So there's no way that this exacta or this trifecta will not pay something.
Terry, where are you?
Terry, you hear us?
Calling, paging Terry. All right. So finally, we're going to go back to Australia, where I still have no idea what I'm reading in those charts, Thomas. So it might as well be a 37 horse field with all guesswork for me. I hope I'm getting a little better at him. I did get one winner there last week, but so did everybody else on the planet. So that's not saying much.
Take what you get,
Hey,
don't complain.
Like Terry says, where else can you turn $1 into 2 in a minute and a half, right?
Absolutely.
You can lose $1 and turn it into 50 cents in Wall Street pretty quick, and then the government will bail you out. But anyway, this is the gold. What is this, like the Golden Rose Stakes? Yeah. Yes, and that's tomorrow, right? Or this morning. I don't know exactly when. It's sometime on Saturday in Australia.
Rosehill, probably about 1:30.
It says 2:05 Eastern Daylight Time, so that's probably 2 o'clock in the morning. Is that this morning or tomorrow morning?
No, it'll be tomorrow.
So it'll be Sunday morning.
Saturday morning. Saturday morning, yeah.
So it's 2 o'clock. This like after midnight tonight or after midnight tomorrow?
It'll be right after. It'll be go off at scheduled to go off at 1:05 Central Time AM.
Today or tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Oh, so between Saturday and Sunday then in our calendar.
No, Friday and Saturday.
So between tonight and tomorrow.
Up tonight at midnight, you can watch the race at 1.
All right, so
I'm not planning on it, but you never know.
Well, you never know.
Insomniac racing is always something I do.
Or if you're chasing them, you've got a real bad case of the chasing.
Yeah, and frankly, I enjoy watching Australian racing because they run both ways. They run counterclockwise and clockwise.
In the same race?
Get some decent field size, too. This is a decent field size, 13 horses. There's just some really top horses in this race. And I went for the Godolphin one, which is the big favorite. Ananomo draws 8. It won its first start, beating the Speedster in the Congo in a Group 2 race. It's won at the Group 1 level at 1,400 meters. So last year, record 4 wins, 3 seconds, 1/3. I can't complain about that one.
Mm-mm.
The other interesting fact I found was Godolphin has won, and in the last 6 years has won this race 3 times. So they've done very well in this race.
So the odds should be 2-1.
And this one looks good.
Right, so the odds are perfect, 2-1.
Yeah, and that's actually, I think it's going to go off lower, but we'll see. I took number 12, Jimena. Has draw 7. So winner of Group 2 last out at 1,200 meters. She was 12th, so she's going to be back. She ain't going to be in the front bunch. And I look at the 800 meter mark, she was 12th, and all other ones she's 12th, and then she blew them away. I'm going to step up in distance and in group level, which I think is interesting. But let's face it, she's going to be flying late. I think she ran 4th in her first race. She lost by about a length and a half. She just needed the race, and if the pace sets up for her, she's going to be right there. Her record: 7 starts, 3 wins, and 2 seconds. So she's been running well too. These 3-year-olds are really interesting. This last one I think is very interesting. I picked number 13, Star Andes, draw 10. Winner of 3 races in a row at Dome Ben.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's a provincial. We'll call it a provincial track. It's not Caulfield or that kind of level racing. This is a huge step up, but it's a fast improving 3-year-old. 8 starts, 5 wins, 1 second, 1/3. That's awful good. I mean,
nice
way you look at it, this is a hot horse. I mean, I think she's going to be maybe over her head, but I like the odds and I like her chances.
So for me, again, reading these Australian forms is hieroglyphics. I might as well be inside an Egyptian pyramid trying to figure out what the pharaohs were writing in their love letters. But I focused on recent form, like how are the horses running now? And then I listed out the horses I felt like were in good form, which turned out to be about half the field or maybe a little bit more than that. So this is not going to work by itself. And then I read all the comments about the race afterwards. So I kind of went form comments and then from there formulated my opinions. And I landed on number 1, 2 as my top pick. Looks like it's a unanimous because the folks here on this website at Sky Racing World agree the 1 horse is the winner. So do the odds. So does Tom. So 3 for 3 there. I like number 8, Giannis. That's a little bit of a, Milwaukee. Tom, you spend a lot of time up in Milwaukee. Giannis is a superstar. So why not put Giannis in there, the name? But horse is in good form. Looks like it likes, it's from what I read in the comments, should be one that performs well. And based upon I didn't know, but based upon the comments, it sounds like they're expecting it to be a little bit wet.
Yes.
So it had mentioned that
they've been getting rain, so I would be very surprised if it's not going to give. There's going to be some give in the ground.
So I was also focusing on the horses that seem to prefer a softer footing, and then number 6, Tiger of Melee. This is another horse that just fits into that that form in comments. And then finally, number 13, I agree with you. I have a Startantes as another horse. So I have the 1, the 8, the 6, and the 13 for no other reason than they look like they're in good form now. And if you read the comments made it sound like the horses were at least facing up at a level that they can handle, and all seem to have a preference for the footing, which is likely to be on the softer side.
Yeah.
And that's the logic behind those picks. We'll see how they play out. I always have to ask Tom, hey, Tom, what happened in those Australian races? Because I still have a hard time figuring out how to find the results. And I know, although Tom says he won't be up, I know that he has that insomnia racing going every Friday and Saturday night. I get emails from him like 3 a.m. I'm like, what the hell is Tom still doing up?
Well, I also will either stay up or get up early to watch Hong Kong racing. And that's in the early morning hours of either on Wednesday or Saturday. This is a good race. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. I still think the Godolphin one, with the way they're having this year, that's going to be a real tough one to beat.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of horses to beat, last night on our Players Edge podcast, we had, as I mentioned, Newsday's Steve Matthews on. He's definitely got some opinions, for sure. If you head over to his Twitter account, I got to warn you, they should have a PG-13, maybe a little higher rating on that account, for sure.
From what you described, I would say maybe a little higher.
Maybe a little higher, but it was a good show. I mean, there wasn't really no controversy in there, but we talked about Beating Life is Good tomorrow at Belmont, which horses could do it, why they might be able to do it. So Tom made his pick, I made my pick, Sean made his pick, Terry made his, and of course, Steve made his. So it's a good show. It'll be up over on the website shortly at Horse Racing Radar. Make sure you check that out. And while you're here, Tom's pointing down, hit that subscribe button. If you like what you see here or any of our shows, a thumbs up would be appreciated because it gives us higher rankings in the Google algorithm. If you're on Facebook, same thing happens with a like. And if you follow us on Twitter, that helps us as well. Tom, any parting thoughts before we get up and out of here?
Yeah, real quickly. Unfortunately, we won't be able to do the show next week because I'm going to be traveling, but it is ARC. The ARC is on Sunday, Arc de Triomphe. And Tanawa is right now the favorite. Christine Semillon is going to ride her. And Hurricane Lane's the third choice.
Winner.
Winner. It's stacking up to be a very good field. And so it'll be a race. I will be sending my picks in because it is great. At Paris Longchamp on Saturday, there are Group 1 races too, and you get to maybe see a Breeders' Cup horse come out of there or two, because that in the past we have seen them, and horses like Garnikova, who didn't do too badly in this country on Breeders' Cup Day. There'll be horses like that and could be in those races, especially pay attention to the mile type race.
I'll make sure to bring it out up during the week too, that Tom won't be here on Friday, and make sure you head on over to the horseracingradar.com, where I will be posting Tom's picks. You'll see his picture as the author. A nice handsome smile there for Tom, and I think he had his I don't know if you had a Hawaiian on, but it
was a Hawaiian shirt. It was a Del Mar.
All right, so he's got the Hawaiian Del Mar on. All right, Tom, I know that you got to hit the road, so we got to hit the road as well. As always, folks, we hope that all your tickets are winners and that you end up in the Newmarket and Rosehill Winner Circle. We'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you head over to Horse Racing Radar for that contest. Everybody have a fantastic Friday.